Welcome to the Tuesday, March 20th virtual session, the day of the Pathways launch. Super excited about the launch that happened this afternoon. And for what we are going to look to cover for today, which will be just some tips on navigating through Basecamp. We'll look into some of that. And we'll look into the start screen once you are logging into Basecamp and what it will mean to, if you're in multiple clubs, like we'll figure out who you would set as your home club and how you can go about ordering paths down the road for the members who are in the printed materials. And we'll have some other resources, such as we'll go over the checklist, the Getting Started in Pathways checklist, the Basecamp Manager checklist. We'll go over those as well. And getting started, we'll go ahead and pull up the start screen for, as you would see when you're logging in, because as the Vice President of Education, Club Secretary, and the Club President, you would all have access to the Basecamp Manager. And what that means is you'll have a tab, a login tab that you can click on that no other member will have access to, and that will be the Basecamp Manager login. This will be the start page that you'll see logging in. You'll see your navigator that you can open up, the interactive navigator. You'll see your option to choose your path. Clicking on this will take you through the online assessment. We'll have the options of online versions versus print. If you choose the online version, you choose Basecamp, it'll walk you through the assessment on choosing that. After given a member has chosen to receive printed materials, when they complete their first level, this is where you will go ahead and purchase their second level in that way, because they'll get their levels one by one in that way, and it'll be mailed instead of getting access to it digitally. And that's where you go here. You'll just click on another member, and then you'll just continue and be able to purchase those new levels for the members who are in the printed paths. Over on the right here, you'll be able to log in as a member, and you can log in as a Basecamp manager. You'll see this part right here, which will have all the clubs that you belong to. If you belong in multiple clubs, all the clubs will be on this list. When you look at selecting who your home club will be, that is going to indicate who you can interact with on Basecamp. Jumping ahead just a tad bit, once you complete a level and you submit a level completion, the club that's set as your home club, once you set that level, or once you submit the request for getting approved of your level completion, that email is going to be sent to the VPEs, club presidents, and secretaries of the home club that you have selected. That's one thing to be mindful of as far as once you are submitting the request for approval so that you can move on to the next level, to have the home club set to the club that you would typically want that club to get credit for it, and for them to go on to Club Central and submit that award. Because once you are approving the levels, that doesn't have any effect on the DCP. So for the club, whereas the level completions can be sent to one club, and then you can contact another club and say, I want you to to take the credit for this level completion, you know. And it'll be ideal, I would think, as far as, you know, if it'll be ideal to have the one club who is receiving or who is approving the completion to also be the club going on to Club Central and submitting that request. Would be ideal. So that's one thing to keep in mind, and that's really what it comes down to for what home club you're going to select. So as far as identifying what you want to set as your home club, you would think, okay, who do I want to interact with on Basecamp? Do I need to send a message to somebody on Basecamp or who's in a different club? Then you can select that, because it's actually super easy, which we'll find out in just a minute, to change your home club. It's super simple. So it's not a difficult task to do. So that will be your home club. When logging in as the Basecamp manager, you'll find access to all of the three tabs that you would see in the tutorials previously. You'll have the pending request. When you get the email saying that somebody completed the level and it's waiting for your approval, that's where you'll go to approve those requests. And you'll be able to view all the member progress throughout all the paths of the clubs that you are the Basecamp manager over, or the club that you're a Basecamp manager over. And you have access to all the tutorials. And one thing I would highly recommend is to just take about 15 minutes of your time and go ahead and dive into some of these tutorials, because that's one great way that really helped me get a better understanding of what Pathways is the tutorials that I've found throughout Basecamp. And when it comes to the Basecamp manager role, there's not going to be so much to do within perhaps the early weeks of Pathways, because it's going to take time for a member to complete the first level, you know. And throughout that time, you'll have time to just take a breath and to get familiar with the process and how Basecamp works. And that way you'll just be prepared when the time comes that you have to complete a level. Because then you'll see that when you get the request, you'll have the member's name there, the level that they are requesting to be approved, and all you have to simply do is click the check mark there, or you can decline it. So if you click the check mark, it'll pop up a box. You just simply put your name in there, initial it, that you approve the request, and it's done. It's approved. The member can now move on to the next level. It's really as simple as that. And that will be the start page of Basecamp. So now let's go ahead and dive in to Basecamp here. And this is what you'll see logging in as a club member, logging into Basecamp. This is what every member is going to see. You'll have the navigating Basecamp tutorials, your educational transcript. This is where we would give feedback. You can click this and it will have all the feedback that you've received. You'll be able to upload your evaluations to your ePortfolio. That will be the feedback tab. And you'll have your badges and the speech evaluations. One key tip I would like to pass along is for these three tabs up here, you don't click on the tab itself. You would really actually hover over it, and there'll be a little drop down that will pop, and then you'll click on the drop down. And that will happen for this one as well, because you can click this as much as you want and it's not going to open anything. So it's very important. You get very used to it very quickly, and it'll be more natural. It just takes a little bit of getting used to, and it'll be easy from there. One thing I would encourage you to encourage all your other club members is to take a look at the speech evaluation tutorial. This is a great resource for getting familiar with the evaluation forms. These tutorials will walk you through. It's an audio tutorial, so it'll be some audio instruction that will walk you through the 3 forms. It will have examples of the evaluations, and it will give you an opportunity to use the forms to evaluate the speech that you'll see through the tutorial. And this is a resources
project includes audio narration. As you can see, take a moment to confirm the audio is working properly on the
associated with it. Another thing I want to make sure that everybody has is the Getting Started with Pathways checklist. This checklist is the purpose of this checklist is to make it pretty much as simple as possible getting started with pathways for especially somebody who is not on the computer necessarily very much. This can make it a lot easier and give them more confidence that they'll be able to go through the process of logging in and choosing their first path, as it'll walk you through step by step on getting you started with pathways. Now, this is a form I would highly recommend getting out to all of your club members so that they'll all have access to this form. Another document that you can refer to is the Basecamp Manager Checklist. This is a checklist that I recommend having on hand, and you can refer back to it as a reference from time to time as you are approached with your Basecamp Manager duties, which really they're pretty much similar to what we would do as a Vice President of Education today. It's just that you would be doing a lot more activities online. Going back to Basecamp, when you are going into your transcript and accessing your project, you will find that in level 1, you only have access to the icebreaker. That's the only one that will say click here to activate, and all the other ones will be grayed out. If a member has completed their icebreaker prior to the pathways rollout, there are 2 things that you can do to activate both evaluation feedback and researching and presenting. Option number 1 is to submit the icebreaker completion form to Toastmasters International, and then within about 3 to 5 business days, they'll go ahead and unlock the evaluation and feedback and researching and presenting. That'll be option number 1. Option number 2, you can actually click activate on the icebreaker project, and once you complete the assess your skills before and the assess your skills after sections of the icebreaker project, then it will automatically unlock the evaluation, feedback, and researching and presenting. That automatically unlocks. So that'd be actually, I believe, the easiest way. That's the way I went about unlocking those 2 projects. So those would be the 2 options. You can fill out the form, have it signed by either the VPE, club president, or secretary, and have that submitted to Toastmasters International, or you can just complete the before and the assess your skills before and after, and then once you submit that, then it will automatically unlock those 2 projects. And then it'll list it as evaluate, which what that is it's an opportunity for you to evaluate the icebreaker project itself. After you complete each of the projects, it's always going to have that listed up as evaluate, or it's going to have an option for you to evaluate the project. I believe you'll have about 15 days approximately to evaluate the project, and then it will go away at that time as far as having an opportunity to evaluate the project. And that will be the way that you can get access to those. This is if you had already completed the Pathways Icebreaker prior to Pathways rolling out today. One resource I recommend is this District 4 page here, where what they've done is they've integrated all of the project descriptions within all of the paths. And you'll be able to go up top. You can click on any path that interests you, like persuasive influence, presentation mastery. You can go through all the levels, and it'll have all the descriptions for all the projects. And that can kind of give you more of an idea of what's included in all the projects, maybe give you a little bit more of an insight and of a help as far as pinpointing what path you might want to take. All in all, because right now every member at this point all has access to Basecamp for any club president, secretary, and vice president of education. They'll have the opportunity to log in as Basecamp manager as well as logging in as a club member. And keep in mind, be mindful if you're a member of multiple clubs to identify or to be conscious of which club you've set as your home club. That way, when you are going in and perhaps interacting with other club members, you'll be able to know why you might not be able to find them. For example, I'm a Pathways guide, and oftentimes I'll be able to access other Pathways guides profiles, but if I go to Christine Divine, who's also a Pathways guide, it's going to tell me that she's not available. The reason why is we currently don't share the same home club. I'm logged in as my other home club. Now, how would I go about changing my home club? Very simple. First, go to home. So you hover over it, go to home, go down to the bottom, click return to the Toastmasters Pathways start page. So you click that, and then you can just simply change your home club. In this case, I'm just going to change it to Pathways Guide. Boxes are going to come up. Do you want to confirm that you want to change your home club? Yes. Continue. And then I can log in to my changed home club. Now if I go through and try to find her again, and we'll wait for that to load, and there she is. I'm now able to interact with Christine because we are now sharing the home club, and that's just a bit how that works. And as you can see, it's very quick. It took me maybe about 30 seconds maybe to change my home club. It's a very quick process. So in all, you have access to both the checklist, Basecamp Manager checklist, as well as the Getting Started and Pathways checklist. You'll know where to get access to all of your tutorials as the Basecamp Manager. You log in as the Basecamp Manager, and then on the right tab, you'll have all your tutorials listed right there. You know where to find the evaluation tutorial that will walk you through all of the evaluation, or that will illustrate how to use the evaluation forms. And you have a little bit more resources as far as getting a overview of all the paths and descriptions within all of the paths on the document that the District 4 had put together. All in all, I hope this has been really helpful, and if there's any other questions, you can feel free to follow those on over, and I'll be sure to answer them as soon as possible. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. Thanks. Appreciate it.